getting the signal. I don't know which signal that is.
New England Maritime Hall to witness the marriage of Jeremy and Josh, to surround their long-standing partnership with our collective love, support, and affirmation, and to share their joy. In the rite of marriage, two people promise their lives to one another. They pledge to live not only for themselves, but for each other. They vow to stand beside one another through all the good that life has to offer, as well as the bad. Across every age and culture, couples have pledged themselves to one another. This rite, both its civil as well as its religious incarnation, has stood the test of time, even as it has continued to evolve, as have the mindsets of many of our elected representatives. As we now enter into this celebration, however, I think it's important that we pause to remember the lives lost and forever changed by the horrific bombings this week at Copy Square and the events that followed. And so I'd like to ask all of us to please take a moment of silence to honor, in honor of the victims. May those who are injured and those who mourn feel the love and support of this whole community and nation. Thankfully, we here can turn our minds to happier things, to new beginnings, to this ceremony at hand. Josh and Jeremy have chosen two readings from two great American poets, which you will now hear. Christian.
Land of the Old 13, Massachusetts land, land of Vermont and Connecticut, land of the ocean shores, land of sierras and peaks, land of boatmen and sailors, fishermen's land, inextricable lands, the clutched together, the passionate ones, the side by side, the elder and younger brothers, the bony limbed, the great women's land, the feminine, the experienced sisters and the inexperienced sisters, far breathed land, Arctic braced, Mexican breeze, the diverse, the compact, the Pennsylvanian, the Virginian, the double Carolinian. Oh, all and each well loved by me. My intrepid nations. Oh, I at any rate include you all with perfect love. I cannot be discharged from you, not from one any sooner than another. O death, oh, for all that I am yet of you, unseen this hour with irrepressible love. Walking New England, a friend, a traveler, splashing my bare feet in the edge of the summer ripples on Paumanok sands, crossing the prairies, dwelling again in Chicago, dwelling in every town, observing shows, births, improvements, structures, arts, listening to the orators and oratresses in public halls, of and through the states, as during life, each man and woman my neighbor, the Louisianian, the Georgian as near to me, and I as near to him and her. The Mississippian and Arkansian yet with me, and I yet with any of them. Yet upon the plains west of this final river, yet in my house of adobe, yet returning eastward, yet in the seaside state or in Maryland, yet Canadian, cheerily braving the winter, the snow and ice welcome to me, yet a true son either of Maine, or of the Granite State, or of the Narragansett Bay State, or of the Empire State, yet sailing to other shores to annex the same, yet welcoming every new brother. Hereby applying these leaves to the new ones, from the hour they unite with the old ones, coming among the new ones myself, to be their companion and equal. Coming personally to you now, and joining you to acts, characters, spectacles with me, with firm holding, yet haste, haste on. For your life adhere to me. Of all the men of the earth, I only can unloose you and toughen you. I may have to be persuaded many times before I consent to give myself really to you. But what of that? Must not nature be persuaded many times? No dainty dolce affettuoso I. Bearded, sunburnt, gray-necked, forbidding, I have arrived, to be wrestled with as I pass, for the solid prizes of the universe. For such I afford whoever can persevere to win them. On my way, a moment I pause. Here for you, and here for America. Still the present I raise aloft. Still the future of the states I harbinge, glad and sublime.
And now a reading from a poem by Mary Oliver.
Coming Home by Mary Oliver. When we're driving in the dark on the long road to Provincetown, which lies empty for miles, when we're weary, when the buildings and the scrub pines lose their familiar look, I imagine us rising from the speeding car. I imagine us seeing everything from another place. The top of one of the pale dunes, or the deep and nameless fields of the sea. And what we see is the world that cannot cherish us, but which we cherish. And what we see is our life moving like that, along the dark edges of everything. The headlights like lanterns, sweeping the blackness, believing in 1,000 fragile and unprovable things. Looking out for sorrow, slowing down for happiness, making all the right turns, right down to the thumping barriers to the sea. The swirling waves, the narrow streets, the houses, the past, the future, the doorway that belongs to you and me.
Look at this space. How can you not love it? There are ship crowds that are jutting out from the walls here. Just through that door over there, you have some of the finest porcelain and decorative arts you'll find anywhere in the world, and of course, all of you beautiful people. I can think of one word: fabulous. Well, actually two words: fabulous and historic. There's one thing about this place: it is just infused with history. You cannot walk down the streets of Salem without feeling a sense of the history, not only of this place, but also of this great state. And it's a state whose history I am very proud of. It's a state, again, that it was the source of the first democratic constitution, the Mayflower Compact. This state had the first Mandatory Public Education Act. This state was a state that was the home of the abolition movement. It's nurtured higher education, medical advances, and of course, this state was the very first state to recognize gay marriage. I love this state. I love Massachusetts with all of its bad drivers and overly obsessed Red Sox fans. And I love its history. And I love thinking of Cambridge, Massachusetts, an adopted home for me and for so many. And on that day in 2004, when Cambridge was the first city hall to issue a gay marriage license. And I remember when all the social conservatives around the country came out to our state to try and do battle, to try and turn back the tides of things. And I remember that the people of this state wouldn't let that happen, wouldn't let rights be put to a vote. I'm proud of this history. It's important to remember that here, marriage has always been a civil ceremony. The Congregationalists, those people who founded this state, religious though they were very clear that marriage was not a sacrament. Marriage was a civil ceremony. And it's a union of two people, and the goal is for this state to honor and protect it with our laws. I love this region. I love Marblehead. I love the Berkshires, Abbey, Omai, Blue Laws. I'm trying to channel my best Walt Whitman here. I don't know. But again, it is a treat to be here. Not only this beautiful space, all this history, but of course, for Jeremy and Josh, and the ceremony that's about to happen. Marriage is something special. Jeremy and Josh have already built their lives together, yes, but now they get to publicly declare their commitment. Marriage is a great line in the sand. It's a moment when two people can proclaim, "Here I stand. This man I love, him I will support until the end." And you all in this gathering here, you also have an important role. You will formally witness to these vows that Jeremy and Josh are about to take. Your presence here signifies your support of their relationship. And I will ask you to promise to continue to support them as you go on in your life and they carry on in theirs. Jeremy and Josh have been weaving their lives together now for nearly 8 years. They met on June 1st, 2005 in Rockefeller Center, when Jeremy was considering a move to the States after many years in Europe. They spent their early days together in Josh and Dylan's East Village shoebox. Josh returned the favor, all but moving into Jeremy, Greg, and Alana's brownstone in Cobble Hill, where pretty much most of you attended at some point a Gatsby-esque or Polynesian or communist May Day party that lasted until the early dawn of the beautiful garden. Trips to Slovenia gave way to trips to Croatia, and then to Slovenia, and then to Croatia. And when eventually they'd seen nearly every stone in the northern Adriatic, they looked deep inside themselves and ventured further afield to Serbia and Bosnia. Through the years, their love deepened. There were trips to London, many trips to London. And then they considered the vast wide world they hadn't seen yet and where they should go for their honeymoon. And so in 2 weeks, they will go to London and Croatia. I sort of jest, they're also planning a trip to Southeast Asia in the fall. But again, these trips are a model of their shared history. Trips to corn mazes in the different corners of the Catskills, to Utah more times than Jeremy thought humanly feasible, through the Czech Republic to drink firewater and sing with the Roma, on an intrepid motorized sailing tour of the limitless northern Adriatic, on a 14-hour odyssey through 6 countries and 5 of the plagues, from Sarajevo to Innsbruck, to wake up to the most beautiful winter morning anyone has ever seen. On an extreme shallow snorkeling expedition in the Caribbean, to the islands of Hawaii, and of course, to so many of your own weddings. At camp, Molly and Dave, which was in fact their 8th date, and then a square dance in Vermont, and on to Sacramento and San Diego and Lake Bled and Brooklyn, and the North Fork of Long Island, and northwestern Connecticut, and Cincinnati, and London, and Bradford, and Edinburgh, and Tuscaloosa, and Paris, and Music Falls, and finally to Chicago, where at midnight on New Year's Eve, at Greg and Alana's wedding, they got engaged. What a wonderful shared history that you all have here together in this room. I do love marriages. I mean, I love receptions too, but I love these ceremonies, because in a marriage, we enjoy not only the memories of a great relationship shared and the future of what that relationship has, But we also get a respite from some of the harsh realities of life. Relationships can be tough. They involve compromises over cleaning the house and taking into account another person's wishes, even when you have no interest in doing so. Any sitcom is based on the difficulties that relationships bring, and some of you, I know those difficulties firsthand. But during a wedding ceremony, you take time to think about how joyous relationships can be. You get to sit there and observe a couple deeply in love and willing and eager to share their life together, knowing that relationships are not easy, but they are also the source of our greatest happiness and fulfillment. It's at times like this when we, all of us, reaffirm our commitment to take a risk on other people. If you are married or in a committed relationship, you can gaze up here and say, yes, I know that feeling. I remember it, and I want to hold on to it. And if you're like me in that period of searching for a relationship, you can be inspired to say, yes, I want that. Or perhaps if you're an eligible gay man, you can say, I want that with that minister up there, the blue suit. Intense, meaningful relationships are what make life what it is. And today we celebrate that as we honor Jeremy and Josh and we witness their love and commitment. And I hope you'll have plenty of celebrating afterwards to join them for a drink, maybe a few drinks and a dance. While we live, let us enjoy life. Before your family and friends, I ask you to affirm your willingness to enter into the covenant of marriage and to share in all the joys and sorrows of this new manifestation of your relationship, whatsoever the future may hold. Jeremy, will you have Josh to be your husband? And will you love him and care for him as long as you both shall live? If so, please say, I will. And now Josh, will you have Jeremy to be your husband? And will you love him and care for him as long as you both shall live? If so, please say, I will. And now, all of you out there, will the family and friends of Jeremy and Josh please answer in support of this couple? Do you offer your collective blessing and love and support to this marriage? If so, with a loud voice, please say, we do. We do. That was actually too loud. Jeremy and Josh, you have declared your intent to marry and receive the blessing of all who are gathered here. Please now join hands and formally and publicly pledge yourselves to one another. Jeremy. I, Jeremy, take you, Joshua, to be my husband.
I, Jeremy, take you, Joshua, to be my husband.
To have and hold from this day forward.
To have and hold from this day forward.
For better, for worse.
For better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Until we are parted by death.
Until we are parted by death.
This is my solemn vow.
This is my solemn vow.
And now Josh. I, Joshua, take you, Jeremy, to be my husband.
I, Joshua, take you, Jeremy, to be my husband.
To have and to hold from this day forward.
To have and to hold from this day forward.
For better, for worse.
Better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, or poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Until we are parted by death.
Until we are parted by death.
This is my solemn vow.
This is my solemn vow.
Josh and Jeremy have chosen rings to symbolize these vows they have just taken. Jeremy, I give you this ring as a symbol of my vow.
Jeremy, I give you this ring as a symbol of my vow.
And with all that I am and all that I have, I honor you.
And with all that I am and all that I have, I honor you.
Joshua, I give you this ring as a symbol of my vow.
Joshua, I give you this ring as a symbol of my vow.
And with all that I am and all that I have, I honor you.
And with all that I am and all that I have, I honor you.
Jeremy and Josh, you committed yourselves to each other in the joyous and sacred covenant of marriage. Become one together. Fulfill your promises, dreams, and destinies together. Support, serve, and honor each other, and rejoice in the fullest potential of human love. By the promises made before us all gathered here this day, Jeremy and Josh have united themselves as husbands in a blessed covenant. And now, by the powers vested in me by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I pronounce them married. Congratulations. Jeremy, you may kiss your panda, and Josh, you may kiss your bear.
Thank you.